to Causing the Effect, a podcast focused on the exploration of your mind, body, and spirit.
Yo, what is going on, Causing the Effect community? Thank you guys so much. If you join us on YouTube, welcome to the YouTube channel. We just launched that this month. First, hit that ring, subscribe, all that nonsense. I'm excited to talk with my friend Tim James today, the CEO, creator, Chemical Free Body. There's so many different topics we could talk about, so many different ways to go. Tim, I'll just start with the journey, man. Where did this passion start?
Well, Scott, thanks for having me on, and thanks for the listeners for pulling up a chair and checking this out. My goal is that you'll get something very tangible that you can actually take action on in your life and turn that into some type of a positive result so you can move closer to your highest excitement, your goals, your dreams, and your passion. And I just want to raise consciousness, man. I'll tell you about my health journey, but for me, the health journey was a path to raising my spiritual, to actually finding and identifying what spiritual practice was, and then raising my consciousness so that we can all get along and do a little kumbaya. What's wrong with that?
Tim, I'm with you, man. Just so you know, the goal of my life this year has been to the quality of my consciousness. So, and like how you said, I started off in this physical world. I was a football player, this stuff. And I think there's something about once you realize you could change your material world, then you kind of get bored of it, go to the spiritual side. So I'm with you the whole way.
It's so much fun, dude. It's like waking up every morning and like having a paintbrush and designing your day. It's like literally so crazy cool like that. If you're not feeling like that, well, listen in, because we're going to get you jacked up, excited, and in a calm way so that you can meditate your way and vibrate your way into your highest excitement. All right. So I grew up over in Eastern Oregon, hunting and fishing, a small cattle and hay farm. We had Hereford cattle, grass hay, alfalfa hay. Spent a lot of time outdoors. Mom and dad, we had a huge garden. So that was cool. Between the two farms, we had ducks, geese, chickens, goats, pigs, cows, horses, rabbits, dogs, cats. I mean, it was all out there, man. I remember we used to catch chickens and then we'd throw them out the top barn of the window and they'd fly way out and land, and sometimes they'd tumble. But, that's what we do, stuff like that as kids. So I was outside a lot. And I grew up on the standard American diet, and that worked fine for me. I actually played baseball at a high level for about 30 years. So as an athlete, really into muscle building and being strong and as fast as I possibly could. I actually I was an entrepreneur, put myself through college cutting firewood, which was really good. I learned a lot about business and just stuff like that and working hard. And that was all great. But, fast forward till I was 37, I had gained 42 pounds. I was a financial advisor, like you're doing that too, part-time, because, Causing the Effect is the full-time mission.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. You got to do that other thing for a little while, but it's serving you, right? It's serving you to get you going where you want to go, which is awesome. So it's all good. So here I am, 42 pounds overweight, 2 kids, mortgage, wife, we have 3 locations as a financial advisor. I'm driving all over the place. We're doing, 6 dinner events in the evenings to get new clients. My guy that I was working for had a radio show. He had a big practice, and we were growing tremendously. And that was all well and dandy, but I had started, besides gaining the weight, I got eczema on my knee, and it got worse and worse every year. It was cracking and bleeding and sticking to my pants. And then my elbows finally got both of them. I couldn't wear white shirts as a financial advisor anymore because I was bleeding on them all the time. If I was over at your house at Super Bowl and somebody'd be like, "Hey, what's this blood on the wall?" It'd be me, because I'd bump up. I mean, it's just like bleeding all the time.
Damn.
And knowing my knees, my elbows are bleeding, and it's embarrassing. So my world was kind of shrinking, dude, because go to the beach or whatever, I take my shirt off, and everybody else is kind of overweight too, so that wasn't that big of a deal. But I felt like a salamander, man. I was bleeding. It felt weird. So being an A-type outgoing personality, all of a sudden my universe was literally shrinking. I was going inside, and I wasn't that. I just was losing my zest for life, I guess, because I was embarrassed about my skin and my weight a little bit. And then it got worse. Then my heartburn started kicking in, and that was bad for years. I was taking Tums and Rolaids 24/7, eating them. I had no idea what was going on. The doctor wanted to put me on Prilosec and other medications, but I'd look at it. I'm like, Prilosec. I mean, I couldn't even pronounce it. It sounded like an alien. Then I never did get the medications. I picked a couple prescriptions up, and I'd look at them and read. It's could cause, increased gambling, suicidal thoughts. It could create, heart murmurs. I'm just like, I ain't putting this stuff in my mouth. I'm like, this is crazy. I'll figure it out. But I was so busy with the kids and coaching, football and basketball and all these things and trying to run this practice. And I found myself just falling apart. My health was falling apart, So finally it got worse. I started bleeding rectally, dude, for 2.5 years. Every time I pooped. Yeah, every time I'd poop, like blood would come out. And when I paint, that's why my shirt says, you guys can't see it except the new YouTubers, welcome. My shirt says love when you poop, because for me, I used to freaking hate it. Like twice a day, I'd have to go to the bathroom, like number 2, and it'd be like, oh God, because from 1 to 10, it was a 6 or a 7 on the pain scale, followed by blood. So I'm bleeding rectally. My elbows are bleeding, my knees bleeding. And then I developed another skin issue on my shoulder. So man, I had a lot of stuff going on. I stopped going to the gym. Only exercise I was really getting was walking the dogs because they couldn't walk themselves. But I was no mental clarity. I was losing it. I was just fatigued. I had no energy, like a lot of folks, right? So I'm on a freaking vacation down to northern Peru in a town called Tumbes with my wife and her dad. His first vacation he'd taken in 30 years. He was a medical doctor, and he ran this big clinic in Lima, Peru. And long story short, it was a beautiful place and everything, but we were on a fishing trip out in the ocean, and I was doubled over in pain. And they're like, oh, you got motion sickness. I'm like, no, look, I fish all the time. I'm in boats. I've been in the sea. I don't ever get sick. Something's wrong. And then he checks me when we got back. He's like, oh, we have to get you to the hospital. Like, you could die. I'm like, what? So we zipped down to the airport, and we didn't make it there in time. We missed the one plane flight out of that place by 30 minutes. And, he said, we have got to get you to hospital. You could freaking die. So I'm just like, I'm in so much pain, but I'm a little worried, but I'm in so much pain. I can't even worry. Literally, I'm bent over like at a 90-degree angle. He rents a van. In 6 hours, we drove down this bumpy ass road down the coastline of Peru to Piura in the middle of the night. Let me tell you what, man, this was the most painful experience I've ever had in my life. Like and that road was like bump, 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 like big potholes, pop, 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 all the way 6 hours. Every bump was somebody was like stabbing me or punching me in the gut. Stab, punch, punch, stab, stab, punch. My wife's holding me in her lap, my head, and I'm just curled up like a baby on my side in this van. Bam, bam. And it was, I got there, dude. I was completely exhausted. I mean, just done. I was completely sweaty, so much that the paper money in my wallet was wet. That's how much I was sweating from the pain. So they took me into this, examination room in the hospital there. And I look up, and in the light, there's a bunch of bugs flying around. I mean, like, I'm in a third world country. It's like stuff looks old. It looks like it's been around a long time. The utensils and everything. And there's like, I'm like, oh, this isn't good. And I'm pissed because I've been paying into health insurance my whole life, and now I can't use it. It's like, damn it. They're down here. So anyway, they're all speaking Spanish, and long story short, they dope me up. He puts me on a plane flight, flies me to Lima because he gets his surgeons ready. I should have went into surgery right there, but he didn't want their surgeons to do it. He wanted to do it in his state-of-the-art clinic.
You're probably better off.
Well, I don't know, dude, but you're not in that situation. You're not supposed. I should have been right into surgery. So I went on a commercial plane. I could have died in the plane, like literally. It was a Hail Mary, type thing. So anyway, I land in Lima. I take a taxi cab right there. There's a whole gurney and a bunch of people. They grab me, throw me in the gurney, right into surgery. And I spent the rest of my trip recovering. Then my wife had to actually push me in a wheelchair back in the United States because I hadn't recovered all the way yet, because our trip was up and everything. But I learned 2 important lessons from that. Number 1, I don't ever want to get freaking surgery again. I mean, I thank God that those doctors had those skills, and this is where Western medicine shines. They're really good in crisis care. In fact, Western medicine was born out of wartime. It was designed to help people in crisis care when they get shot in the guts or get an arm blown off. They patch you up and save your life. That's freaking awesome. Heroes. But how they take care of people when they have degenerative disease and stuff, they're terrible. It's like we're ranked like 38th in the world in health. And I mean, human beings are literally the sickest we've ever been in the history of humanity. So the system's broken. It's evident. But anyway, the second thing that I learned was that my poor health doesn't affect just me. It affects everybody else around me, because I ruined the trip for my wife and her dad. He'd never taken a vacation in 30 years. Where's he end up?
One trip.
In the hospital, taking care of me. So that was a big learning experience. Okay. But I still didn't know what to do. So right after that, my friend Charles gets diagnosed with chronic lymphocytic leukemia, which is supposedly this incurable blood cancer at age 43. Now, this was coming off of just losing one of my good friends, Kalei Mahoy, on my baseball team at age 40 to stomach cancer. Now we assumed Clay got it because he was chewing tobacco and it went down into his gut and probably caused the cancer. And he did chemo surgery and all that stuff. And I remember his last game, he was spitting up blood on the bench. And my buddy Jason looked at him. He's like, Clay, what the hell are you doing here, man? He's like, look, if I'm going to go out, I'm going to go out doing what I love. And I love playing baseball. So it's like, what do you say to that deal? But he ended up passing away and was on hospice, looked about 80 pounds under his weight, looked like Auschwitz. And he left 3 little boys behind. So it was really hard on his family. He didn't have insurance. And now my buddy Charles has got it. And my aunt had died of brain cancer. My grandma died of brain cancer, and my aunt had died of skin and lung cancer. So I'd already been through cancer a couple times in my family, and my experience was you get it, you die. And that's what happened to Clay. And now Charles has got it. So I'm like, shit, I'm gonna lose another friend. I mean, this isn't cool. But Charles is like, hey man, I'm gonna go to the Hippocrates Health Institute in West Palm Beach, Florida. They're this alternative, natural detox nutrition clinic. Will you go with me to support me? And I'm like, I'm in, like whatever you need. I had no idea. I didn't even hear what he said. I'm just like, he said he wanted me to go to this place with him. I think I'm going to lose my friend. I'm just like, I'm in. So you have to keep in mind, I'm the redneck that's hunting and fishing, like nope, carnivore out extreme. I mean, I'll eat apples and stuff. I pick apples. I love that stuff. Gardening. I like fresh food, but I thought my whole life revolved around meat. And I thought it was part of actually being a man. You had to have it for muscles or something. So anyway, we go there and he's like, oh yeah, by the way, there's no meat, there's no dairy, there's no salt, there's no sugar, there's nothing cooked over 115 degrees, there's no vinegar. And I'm like, whoa, what do you mean there's no meat? And then I'm freaked out. Like, seriously, dude, I'm in a plane flight and he drops this on me. I knew he waited. He was smart because I was just like, I'm freaked out. I'm like, well, I had taco salad bar in high school once a week. That was really good, but they had hamburger on it. And I'm like, God dang it. So, but I'm like, oh, your buddy's dying of cancer, dude. Just buck it up and just, if they got salads or something, you'll probably, I mean, obviously the place has been in business for 60 years. They're not killing people. So I get there and day one, my acid reflux is gone. Day one. They just had us start drinking purified, restructured water, got us on lemon and lime juice, these green juices, wheatgrass shots, and living foods. It was sprouted nuts, sprouted seeds, sprouted grains, sprouted beans, sprouts, broccoli sprouts, alfalfa sprouts, sunflower sprouts, pea sprouts, buckwheat lettuce. I mean, all these things. Half of them I never even seen before. I mean, I had sprouts on my hoagies back in the day before they banned that because of the E. coli thing. But the first class called Internal Awareness is where everything changed for me. So this doctor comes out. It's a 3.5-hour class. And he explains from the time you eat food until the time it leaves your body, what happens. And I was like, wow, that is freaking amazing. That everybody should know this. Like, did I miss this in high school or something? Was I throwing spit wads? I don't know what was going on, but this is really important stuff. And it made sense. And this guy was fit, dude. I'm telling you, this guy he looked like a football player. Okay. He was ripped. I found out later he was his bodybuilder, and so was his wife. He's a medical doctor, Scott Josephson. Really cool dude. You can look him up. Anyway, he spends 3.5 hours teaching us about internal awareness and how the average person, and here's a big message to, if you have a pen and paper, write this down or just remember it. The average individual is carrying around 6 to 12 pounds of impacted fecal material in the colon today. That's average, right? Now you hear that and you're like, what? It's like but you can't see it. It's inside of you. Right. And it's built up over the years because of many reasons, lack of hydration, cooked processed foods, all these things. So, and he's like, you have to get it out. In fact, he looked at me and he said, Tim, you have 10 pounds of crap in a 5-pound bag. And if you ever want to be healthy, truly healthy, you have to clean it up. And he was trying to sell us on colonics or colon hydrotherapy. You heard of that?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, so I didn't hear about it. So for the listeners, I'll just explain it. So you basically set on a tube rectally and water goes in and out of your colon for an hour and cleans your colon gently. Mm-hmm. Well, if you go look it up online, Western medicine will try to scare you out of it. But it's, if you can also listen to my podcast, Health Hero Show, on episode 38. I actually interviewed Rebecca Harder. She's an Act 1 certified instructor level colon hydrotherapist that's done over 20,000 of these procedures with clients. She has 2 locations, one in Taos, Mexico, another one in Portland, Oregon. And she debunks all this stuff. So episode 38.
Oh, wow.
I'm
going to listen to that one.
Yeah, it's a good one. So I just don't want people to go, oh, because me, I wasn't going to do it. Like, he's explaining it all. And I elbowed Charles and said, look, dude, I'm not doing that deal. I don't care. I came here to help you, but it's not happening. Like, I just wasn't ready for it yet. It just sounded weird. Nobody's going to be putting something in my butt. But this doctor was very smart. And they say a picture is worth 60,000 words. Well, they were correct. So he showed 4 virtual colonoscopies, 3 of unhealthy people and 1 of somebody that had been on this Hippocrates lifestyle for a while. So the first one was like a 24-year-old female with Hashimoto's, which is a thyroid issue, and thrush, which is like a yeast infection. Okay. Inside of her colon, dude, was all white and yellow and weird. And I was like, whoa. And it's like, it's alarming because you can like see it and you're like, that's not supposed to be all white and yellow in there. And that's, you start thinking about your own colon. And then they went to a 65-year-old male with, he had colon cancer and parasites. And inside of his, it was like black and brown. You expect brown, but you don't expect black. And then a bunch of white worms crawling around. And I was like, holy crap. And then I remember the instructor, Scott, he looks back at us and he said, he's like, hey, just so you guys know, these parasite deals, this is not a third world affair. Easily over 50% of you have parasites that are out of control in your body, easily. And he said, I'm not just talking about the hookworms, the pinworms, and the tapeworms, the ones you can see with the naked eye on these videos, but there's small microscopic parasites, smaller ones that are in your tissues and they're in your cells, right? I mean, a lot of times during heart surgeries, as an example, when people are doing bypasses and stuff like that, they'll open up the heart and pockets of worms comes out of people's hearts. And those ones you can see, obviously, just like, you know, in dogs and cats and stuff like that, pockets, like it's crazy what's going on when we have the degradation of our immune system. The harmful organisms can jump over the moat and they can get into the castle, right? So I'm sitting there watching this stuff and I'm just like, oh my God. And these parasites, they eat our food, drink our drink, they urinate and defecate in us, creating more acid, and then they lay thousands of eggs, right? So now I'm freaked out. Then he goes to like a 45-year-old female with breast cancer and her gut was jacked up. I think she had like Crohn's or colitis or diverticulitis or something. And inside of her colon, again, black, brown, weird, nasty. And then he showed the visual of the healthy colon. And inside there, there was some brown stuff, obviously, but the walls were like pink and clean and the blood vessels, and it just, the terrain was completely different, Scott. And that's when I got it. I was like, oh my God, it's an internal game. I'm like, oh my God, this is just like a tractor that's not running well, or your truck. If it's like the check engine light's on, and you just keep driving it. No, you're like, you take it into the shop as fast as possible so you have a small repair bill, because if you wait, it could get huge, or it could leave you stranded, or you can't get the job done with that tool, that vehicle. Well, we have check body lights going off all the time, and nobody's given us an owner manual. We ignore it. We freaking ignore it. What's a check body light? Well, you're overweight, like I was. You have skin issues that are bleeding. You're bleeding rectally. Those are check body lights. You've got cancer. You've got Hashimoto's. You've got fibromyalgia. You've got MS. You're tired. You're on medications. You have mental fog. You have low energy. You can't run around a track without falling over. Okay, these are signs that you need to change your environment. Your body is freaking, it's a very awesome system, and it's telling you, please change what you're eating, change your environment, change your stress, all this stuff. But we just, what do? Some of us go into a doctor and they hand us a synthetic pill that was made in a lab, and it kind of band-aids the situation, but gives us other side effects. And that's the solution? Where is that in nature? How has nature been evolving for billions of years, and we go to a pill that's acid-based and put that into our carbon-based system? It makes no sense when you really stop and think about it. So here I am learning all this stuff, and now I'm like, I'm signing up for that colon hydrotherapy deal. So I signed up. The next day I went in, they weighed me. I did it for an hour. The water gently went in and out of my colon, and then they weighed me again. And guess what? I dropped 10 pounds of impacted fecal material in one session. The record at the Institute in 2011, when I was there the first time, was one lady had dropped 27 pounds in one 1 hour session. Imagine that, dude. That's like that's about the weight of a medium-sized dog literally falling out of your butt. That is a lot of nasty funk and gunk and junk. And guess what? That nasty funk and gunk and junk is high acid and it's low oxygen. It is the perfect terrain or environment for viruses, bacteria, mold, yeast, fungus, parasites that we talked about, mutagens, the cancers. They love it. So what did they do at the Institute? They changed our environment. Not only how we think and our attitude, which is number one, reducing our stress, but they changed us from the inside out. And they started flooding us and doing therapies like colon hydrotherapy and enemas and wheatgrass and all kinds of stuff that was giving us the highest oxygen, highest alkaline environment possible. And when you change the internal terrain, you make it inhospitable for harmful organisms. They pack their bags and leave. And that's why people would see parasites exiting the body, literally out of not just through, defecation, but also through perspiration. We'd see parasites, literally little ones crawling out of people's pores. One lady at lunch had a parasite crawling out of her eye. Very typical because they change the internal terrain of our body so fast that these things pack their bags and leave. It's like a polar bear waking up in Miami Beach. It's like, I'm out of here. It's too hot. It's going to go south or go north. And that's what those viruses, the harmful organisms, they pack their bags. They were exiting the body. They called it a Hertz reaction or detox symptoms. Some people have it, cold, flu-like symptoms. I had night sweats. I was irritable for a few days. I had a metallic taste coming out of my tongue as the heavy metals were exiting my body. And like I said, other people had it worse. They had parasites coming out that you could see. There's some of them coming out of me probably that I couldn't see. Or they had rashes breaking out on their skin. So the summation of this whole thing was like, I am flipping out now. Like this place is like, I was very skeptical. I'm running around. How could this little podunk place help people with cancer? We've got billions of dollars being sent, race for the cure. Our best minds are at it, right? But guess what? It was working. Like, what's her name? These guys have helped like a lot of Olympic athletes actually win gold medals. And when Dr. Clement said, one of the directors said, once people get this, all Olympic records will be shattered because we're raising the cellular vibrational frequency and giving people more energy. Venus Williams, that tennis star, she was there when she was diagnosed with lupus. She was worth an estimated $60 million at the time. And she really wanted to play tennis, but she was dying of lupus. And she went there. And after a couple of weeks, she was in front of Dr. Clement. She's like, why do I feel so good? Everything you're telling me to do is the exact opposite of all the experts have told me. He said, well, that's why it works. And then she left there and went on to win a gold medal in the Olympics and won Wimbledon again. And she's back. And then her sister, Serena, started adopting some of this stuff, like wheatgrass shots and stuff. So this isn't just me saying, like, there's been lots of people there. I don't know why more people like her aren't speaking out about what's going on, but I do. I tell everybody. We went to Hippocrates, and it's natural. So after about a week there, dude, I looked over at Charles. I said, dude, do you feel as good as I do? He's like, yeah. I said, I feel like I'm freaking 18. I said, I have like, I literally, my arms, and I was 37 at the time. My arms are like tingling with energy. My brain is turned on. I feel completely clear. I can see everything. And I'm like, I can't believe I'm going to say this, dude, but I'm going to go home and I'm going to do this whole lifestyle with you. I'm going to give up all meat except for bacon, and I'm going to do it, dude. And you're going to heal a cancer. And he's like, I'm healing. He goes, I want to see my son graduate high school. I want to see Charlie. I want to go to father-son weekend at Oregon State University. And guess what? That's exactly what we did. We came home, we implemented block and tackle, did the work on a daily basis, change our lifestyle, change our environment, the way we think. And my buddy, within about 2.5 years, was cancer-free, no chemo, no radiation, no surgery, right in front of my face. And in 60 days, I lost all the weight. Both of my elbows had healed up. My shoulder healed up. 8 months later, that huge patch of eczema was off my knee. And I'm 40. I'll be 49 in June, dude. It's been like 11 years I've been on this path. And I just been geeking out. How can I look better, feel younger, have more energy, and then show other people how to do it? And we just teach common sense. This is not magic. We reduce stress. We get the huge microscopic pollution, these microscopic invaders from pesticides and fungicides, herbicides and gas, exhaust and paint off gassing and rubber compounds, all these microscopic crap like formaldehyde coming off of the carpet. We show people how to clean up their air, clean up their water, clean up their food, reduce the stress, and then flood the body with nutrition, sunshine, good nutrients, good soil, good bacteria. And guess what? Everybody that I've worked with comes back pretty darn quick. And it's just kind of common sense. So that's been my journey. We've helped thousands of people do this stuff. I love it. It's not even work. I can't even believe I'm here. I get to do what I do and share these messages with people.
Dude, that's incredible. I mean, you answered my question. How did you feel after? But like, why only bacon? You still only eating bacon? Is it just the one thing you love?
Because I freaking love bacon.
I mean, bacon. I mean, who doesn't? Right?
It's freaking delicious. But I actually read the China study on the way home, and it's the most. If you haven't read it, it's the most comprehensive book ever on nutrition, because the leader of China at the time, the emperor, was diagnosed with like a lymphoma, and when the emperor, it's a communist deal, so everybody works for him basically. He employed 600,000 Chinese workers to try to figure out to beat his lymphoma. Think about that. They interviewed everybody in China and found out what everybody was eating and what they were doing, and if anybody knew how to cure lymphoma. And he ended up passing away. But from that, they delineated that the reason why people were living longer was because they were eating mostly plants. The Chinese would, back before, McDonald's got there, they would have a little teeny bit of meat. It was more for flavor. And if you look around at the blue zones, and I know this is hard for the meat eaters to understand because I was one, but just take it with a grain of salt. Just let it wash over you. I'm not saying you have to quit eating meat. I'm not saying that at all. That's what I did. So I read that book and it said that I remember a chapter in there. It was talking about they dissected the hearts of 300 young soldiers in their 20s after the Korean War. And they already had severe onset of heart disease already in their 20s. It was the overconsumption of animal products. And I was like, oh my God, I've got heart disease. So I'm just like, screw it. I'm not going to eat any meats. For 8.5 years, I had not a stitch of meat. I went completely plant-based, whole food, plant-based diet. And I've reintroduced a little bit. I mean, I'll have an omelet here or there, but they're organic. Okay. Or if you caught a salmon and said, hey, I got some smoked salmon, I'll have a piece. I mean, but I'm 98% hardcore plant-based because that's what makes me feel good. Right. And I've tried it all. I just want to do, and everybody's different. Like this whole thing about everybody should have the same thing. That's BS. I mean, everybody's individual. If a 4-year-old does not need what a 45-year-old or an 82-year-old needs, we're different. And everybody has different stressors that are in different genetic makeup and that kind of stuff. But so we believe in personalized precision medicine, right medicine for the right person at the right time. And food is medicine. Food is medicine. Hippocrates, the guy that they named that institute after, and the same guy that all the doctors take the Hippocratic Oath when they graduate medical school, I will do no harm, was based on the guy who said, let thy food be thy medicine and thy medicine be thy food. Well, they kind of missed out on that one. But another quote that a lot of people don't know about Scott that he said was that he who is not his own doctor is a fool. Think about that. He or she that is not their own doctor is a fool. What was he talking about? He was talking about you taking 100% responsibility for your health and becoming your own doctor, learning how to self-heal. That's exactly what we promote over here. And people think that they're too dumb like me. Like, I could never do that. Just like, I got to go to the expert. Well, how's it freaking working for you? It ain't working. And those experts have higher incidence of suicide and they're not that healthy themselves. I mean, after they get done meeting with you, then they go have, a Subway meatball sandwich and they're eating Krispy Kreme. I've seen it with my own eyes after a cancer meeting with a family member. So we have to wake up. We have to, I just want to defend public health, man. That's what I'm all about now. I want to get this information out to people for the ones that are ready. And because for me, when I changed my diet, it opened up my spiritual pathway. And then everything.
Energies, man. Yeah, it opened up your energy, of course.
Everything changed for me, man.
Now, how did it look as far as because I know it's more of an individual approach, but the combination of food that you're eating to kind of create this optimal digestion, how would you coach somebody or walk somebody through what that at least should look like, even though it's going to be more individualized?
Yeah. Well, the easiest thing to say on the food is you want to get fresh food. That's it. Fresh. And you want to make sure that it's not sprayed and you want to make sure that it's grown in nutrient dense soil. So besides that, though, when people come to us, they're like, what do I eat? What exercises should I do? We can help you with that. I'm a chef. All my coaches are chefs. I'm a trainer. I can write workout plans. I'm a yoga instructor. We do some movement exercise. There's all kinds of stuff. We can do all that. But before that, we got to get the foundation in place. Nobody has the foundation in place. And there's basic things that everybody should be doing. One of them is water. Most people are not drinking enough water. In fact, 95% of people are not drinking enough water. And what they are drinking is polluted or it's just not absorbable. So this is, I'll just touch on these really quick. We call them our core 4 secrets. In fact, at the end, I'll give you my website. You guys can go, if you hunt around my website a little bit, there's a pop-up that says, grab your free gift. That free gift is our core 4 secrets manual. Unless, somebody listens to this 10 years from now, we changed it, but whatever.
Yeah. And everybody, you can find those in the notes below.
Yeah. So anyway, core secret number 1 is drinking half your body weight in liquid ounces of purified water daily. So what does that mean? If you're 200 pounds, that's 100 ounces of water a day. If you're 100 pounds, it's 50 ounces a day. If you're in a hot, arid climate and you're like a triathlete, then you need to bump it up a little bit. But for the average person, that's a good start. 95% of you are not drinking enough of it. Now, the Royal Society of Medicine said that 85% of disease starts in the colon. After 11 years and coaching 600 people one-on-one through this process and thousands in a group setting, I completely agree. The first place your body goes for water when it needs it's the colon. And if you're not drinking enough water, your colon's dehydrated. And this is the beginning of why we're getting all that fecal impaction in there. You're drying it out. It's like a desert. It needs to be wet. It needs to be hydrated, right? That's number one. Number two, if you live on city tap water, you don't need to just purify your water. You need to restructure it. So let me take a step back. All water today is polluted. 74% of rainwater has glyphosate in it, which is a major ingredient in Roundup. It's an herbicide that kills plants, basically. It's, everybody's heard of Roundup. And you see the advertisements on TV. If you've been exposed to glyphosate, the main ingredient in Roundup, you may be entitled to compensation. Joe Blow from California, who had lymphoma cancer, just was awarded $70 million. Right? So there's a huge batch of money set off to pay for all these people that have gotten cancer from glyphosate. Yeah, you can still go down to your local home and garden center and grab it, spray it on your sidewalk and track it into your house for you and your kids and your family. It's insane. What's going on with these people? How can you sue people, win money for something that's killing people, and they still have it on the market? It's unbelievable.
Now, Tim, is bottled water good, or is that still it's pure?
No, it's crap. It's crap. It's complete crap. The water today, I'll just put it in context. 1,500 miles into the interior, pristine lakes where no man is. The 2 and 2.5 inch fish now have both male and female organs. They're turning into hermaphrodites, Scott. Why? Because of the high amounts of estrogen mimicking plastics in the water today. Think about it. Just as an example, you drink out of a plastic bottle and it's like, oh, it's BPA free. BPA is one xenotoxin. They have like 37 of them. They have BPB, PPC, BPD, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. There's a bunch of them. So Aaron Brockovich, great job. They won that case. When they just switched from BPA to BPB. And they're just as bad or worse. And they just keep pumping out the plastics. Where does plastic come from? It comes from crude oil. And it takes 3,000 chemicals, toxic chemicals, to make plastic. So that's why you ever see that they cover this stuff up all the time. Where they make these plastic plants, the environment around there, people are sick. The people are getting cancers. Flint, Michigan's an example that everybody knows about that one. It's a good one to bring up, where the water was tainted. Well, the water's tainted everywhere. So 2 examples that pristine lakes are turning fish into hermaphrodites. This is happening in all rivers, lakes, streams, and tributaries. Now, the amphibians and the fish are developing weird male-female organ things. It's just messing them up. Same thing is happening to humans. How many men today are getting man boobs, prostate cancer, women, breast cancer, ovarian cysts, uterine cysts? All these things are messing with our hormones. And if you're wearing clothing that's not natural fibers, that has not been sprayed with other chemicals, completely natural, you are putting chemicals into your body. So ladies, if you're wearing a Lycra bra, you're off-gassing estrogen mimicking chemicals right into a very high hormonal area. Same thing for guys and women. If you're wearing panties or tight boxer briefs and they're synthetic, you're off-gassing these chemicals right into these high hormonal areas, and whoop, up goes your incidence of breast cancer. Breasts are supposed to move around. Bras were developed in the late 1800s. I did some research on this. It's stupid. Breasts are supposed to move and sway. That's part of the lymphatic system. That's how we move toxins out of our body. The lymphatic system works on movement, air, and water. And we have to pump our lymph. We don't have a heart to pump it. The heart pumps the cardiovascular system. So our garbage removal system needs movement. You're taking your breasts and you're constraining them and then suffocating them so they can't move. They can't do their natural movement. And they're also off-gassing toxins in them. And the larger the breast and the wire goes underneath, even higher incidence of breast cancer, right? Crazy stuff. What are we doing? Where in nature do you see an animal wearing a bra or underwear? It just doesn't happen. We're not supposed to have this stuff on. I know it's kind of crazy because I know when I left there, I was like, geez, I should just run around naked. Is that what I'm going to do here? But you can find alternatives. You can find non-toxic things. Me, as an example, baseball player. I remember back in the day, you probably do too, where, well, I don't know, I'm probably older than you, but we had to wear long sleeve cotton undershirts, right? It's cold or whatever in summertime. You'd sweat in them and they'd get heavy. And you have to change them in the middle of the game. Well, now they had like Under Armour and Nike Dry Fit
gear.
Yeah. This stuff's freaking awesome because it's super thin. It makes you feel like a superhero, and it wicks the water away with the moisture. But the problem is they're made out of polyesters and nylons and stuff like that. They're freaking from crude oil. They're synthetic chemicals. They're off-gassing. Even after 1,000 washes, they're off-gassing 97% of these estrogen mimicking hormone disrupting toxins directly into your bloodstream. And then every time you wash them, the microplastics, look this up, microplastics go in the wash, into the water, and back out into the ecosystem. So everybody around the world that's washing their garments is polluting the world. And that's why the fish 1,500 miles in the interior, these microscopic plastics attached to these water molecules, and they go up in the clouds and they're everywhere now. That's just where we're at. I mean, there's also the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. It's the size of Texas. It's out in the Pacific Ocean. It's all plastic. Ship captains have to plat courses around it. The sun's beating down on it, and it's just degrading this plastic stuff into the ocean and back into the ecosystem. I mean, I could go on and on and on, but I think everybody gets the point. Okay, freaking water's polluted today, and our bodies need clean water. So you have to purify your water, not filter it, not like a Brita filter. Brita is actually owned by Clorox. They put bleach that poisons you, and they give you a cheap filter to kind of get some of it out. It's insane when you learn this stuff, dude. I went down the rabbit holes on these things, and I'm just like, I got angry for a long time, but anger doesn't really do a whole lot for your nervous system, and it's not really a solution either. So, being the change itself, giving people education, bringing them the awareness, and then just stop buying this crap from these companies. Our election systems are selections now. We might not be able to vote. Why do they have why does your vote not go in as a whole number? Why does it go in as a fraction? And why is there a weighted race feature inside of your election software? Well, I don't know. Maybe these people are corrupt. So maybe your votes don't work. But the one vote that does work still today is when you vote with your dollars. When you pull that money out of your pocket every month and you buy something, you are making a vote, whether you're buying something from a company that doesn't care about you and doesn't care about the planet, or they do. They have a heartbeat and a pulse, and they actually care. So you change where you buy stuff, you're going to improve your health, and that's how you change the planet and do everything everybody wants to do. It's freaking where you spending your money. That's how you change industry. They'll come around or they'll go out of business, right? Support people that are doing good things, and be careful, because then they'll get bought out, right? Big companies will then sell out to Procter and Gamble or Nestle, and you got to be careful. Then they'll slip chemicals back in. So I like buying local, buy from small, medium-sized businesses, patronize them, and get good products. Because if you don't do this and you allow these big mega corporations to take over, you're going to get crappy products. And that's exactly what's happening. Amazon bought Whole Foods. And if you've been into Whole Foods lately, don't you see a lot of the Organic 365 brand in there?
Yep.
That's their own brand. When something sells, they mimic it, they make it crappier, and then they get rid of the other product and they put theirs there because they got the traffic, the people coming in. So our quality of products is going down. You have to stop buying food from these places. These people are scumbags. They are destroying our quality of life. Go buy from the local, pay more. I use Amazon as a search engine, man. I tell everybody, don't buy from them. Go directly, pay the extra shipping, wait an extra day or two, and you can go to sleep at night and have a moral compass. That's where we're at today. I mean, man, they are taking advantage of us left and right.
Stressing me out, Tim. Now the water situation. How do you solve that? Do you have to purify it yourself? Is this the only way to do it? Like purify the water?
Well, yeah. I mean, the cheapest way is you can at least go to your grocery store and start packing gallon glass jars, and then get single purified water. That's going to get about 90% of the toxins out. Now, the best thing to do would be to give a triple purification system in your home. And I apologize because I get off on these tangents, man. So back to the water.
No, I love it. Yeah, I know we got 4 of these. So first is
solution.
Water.
The first one's the longest. I'll buzz through these. So solution, triple purification system. We will have these up on our website very soon. We have the air purifiers up. We have the saunas up now finally, but the water purifiers, I'm down to 2 companies. But I have a triple purification system because one swath through will pull out 90% of the toxins. You got 10% left. Go through again, you pull out 90% of the 10. You got 1% left. Go through again, 0.1. That's how you get 99.9% purified water. But if you're on city tap water, I've learned a big lesson. Your water has to be restructured. When your water is going through high pressure pipes, the water molecules in 4 or 5 a cluster go to 20 to 25 a cluster. They get too big. And then they're like a bowling ball trying to go through a chain link fence. The bowling ball, the water molecule, the chain link fence, your intestinal lining. So you could be drinking a lot of water like I did for 8.5 years and teaching and preaching and doing it. Yeah, it helps people. But this gal, she's like, oh, no, you need this unit, this water unit. I'm like, no, I know about that one. It's good for alkalizing. But, purified water clean water is the most important thing. I got it. But she didn't give up on me, thank God. And then she put me on the phone with this water expert. And he's like, dude, just go drink the effing water. So I'm like, all right. So I went over, drank a quart of it, drank another quart. And in 24 minutes, dude, it was the same thing like I was back in Hippocrates. Like, my arms tingled. My brain was lit on. I drank another quart. Dude, I was high on water for like 6 hours. I called her up. I'm like, what the hell? I need one of these units. Well, what I didn't know is this unit restructures the water and makes it really tiny and hyper absorbable again. So now, not only are you getting all this water, so it go into the intestinal lining, into the bloodstream, which a lot of it wasn't before. I was just going through my system and peeing it out. It disappeared, because I would drink water and pee all day long, drink and pee. That was happening with this. I drink a lot of water. It would just disappear. And 2-3 hours later, whoosh, then I'd pee a lot. So I was like, wow, it's really getting in me, and I'm going and doing stuff. And my energy was great. And you get like 9 times more absorption of the nutrients from the food you eat and the supplements you take when your cells are properly hydrated. So this is a major game changer for people. The water is the lubricant of life. Your joints are going to feel better. Your inflammation is going to go down. You're going to have more think. You're going to recover faster from workouts. Your body's going to be able to process and get rid of chemicals and toxins and more. We really need that today because we live in a polluted society. And it was a game changer. So that water system, unbelievable. There's this gal named Danusha. I used to give her email out, but then everybody emails us trying to spell Danusha. So we made a landing page for her. It's the healthy, mypurifiedwater.com. So if people go to mypurifiedwater.com, they can check into that unit. So anyway, the water thing's a big deal. Less than 95% are doing it. It's a game changer, right? Completely change it because it's your body's mostly made of water. So if you're going to drink some water today, tomorrow, next week, next month, 10 years from now, why not invest in yourself and get your water right? It makes total sense today in the polluted world we live in. Number 2, core secret number 2, chew your food until liquefied. 96% of the population is not doing this. Mom was right. We need to chew our food. Why? Not just to break it down into small, but you have 2 ducts in your upper mouth and 4 in your lower mouth. These secrete enzymes, amylase and lipase. These break down your starches and your fats. So you preload your food with these enzymes. Then in the stomach, those enzymes break the food down. That's where all the digestion is taking place. So if you don't chew your food well, you're going to have fermentation and gut rot because you don't have enough of these enzymes to do the digestive process. You're not chewing your food. You're busy talking. I used to eat like Garfield, dude. So I get it. But I had gut issues, man. I had freaking gut issues. This is one of the big things. I was not chewing my food. Easy to do, but easy not to do. Now, one thing I learned from Dr. Gabriel Cousins, who's like 80 and can do 30 pull-ups. Yeah, wrap your head around that one. He said that when you chew your food really well, you're stimulating the meridian points in your teeth and you're up-regulating. Think about this. Hold your hat. For those of you depressed, anxious, you up-regulate your serotonin levels by up to 500%. The happy juice. Happy juice. There's no supplement you can take or pharmaceutical drug that's going to jack you up like that. That doesn't have side effects, right? Maybe a supplement, but it's not going to do that good. By simply chewing your food, you can increase and start lifting yourself out of depression. And depression medication is the number 1 selling drug. So chewing your food doesn't cost anything, and it's a no-brainer. Okay, number 3. Now that you're drinking lots of water, chewing your food well, you want to avoid liquids with meals. Why would you do that? Because you have all those enzymes you chewed, you preloaded, and you put them in your stomach. If you drink purified water, beer, wine, apple juice, whatever liquid, you're going to dilute those digestive enzymes to go back to fermentation and gut rot. That's not what we want. We want digestion and assimilation of nutrients. So the rule of thumb, wait an hour or stop drinking liquids an hour before you eat and wait 2 hours after you're done eating and then drink a lot of liquids again. If you want to take some probiotics or digestive enzymes with your meal, we just sprinkle them on our food. But if you need to, you can drink it down with just a little bit of water. That's recommended. And 98% of the population is not doing this. So massive room for improvement here, guys. Last one, core secret number 4 is now that you're doing all those things, you want to do some breath work before you take a bite. And why? Because we're all in stress mode today, whether you like it or not. Unfortunately, our body thinks the saber-toothed tiger's chasing us, that old adage, and we are in fight or flight. We are in what's called sympathetic nervous system mode. So the blood actually leaves the organ systems and it goes to the extremities to fight or flight, to run. And you can't digest your food really that well when your blood's not down in there. So simply by taking a breath, and I don't care how you do it, just 1 to 2 minutes in through the nose, pause at the top, out through the mouth, and then back into the nose. Suspend the breath and release. And you can do this Dude, I'm telling you, it doesn't take that long. Just a couple breaths, 1 to 2
Everybody better
minutes.
be listening to this one on this. We've discussed breath work quite a bit, and now the fact that it helps your digestion, that's unbelievable.
It's so powerful, dude. It is so powerful. And this is a tool that doesn't cost anything that you can also use for stress reduction any time of the day. You can go through it as many times as you want. So when you're taking these breaths, you can just be thankful for the life you have and be thankful for the people in your life. You can be thankful for the food you have, right? Even if everything's not perfect the way you want it, it is perfect because things are just giving you contrast, good or bad. I don't think there is such a thing. Contrast moves you towards or pushes you away from what you don't want, more towards you do want. So take some big, deep breaths and also use that for stress. Less than 1% of the population is doing it. Now, our formulator, Dr. Scott Treadway, dude, we've got like badass products. Like I am very picky. Everything that we've built, I built for myself, and then we just share it with our group coaching community. But how do I know how powerful these core 4 secrets are? Well, because I've been practicing them for the last 11 years, and I have over 600 people. This is the foundation. This is before you change your diet. It's before you start exercising. You get these core 4 secrets in place. Now, we ship to Australia and places like that, New Zealand, Ireland. I think with COVID and all the delays, it can take 2 weeks, sometimes 3-4 weeks to get there. And we get emails every day, Scott. Tim, my gas and bloating's better. I have more energy. My mental clarity is better. They don't even have the freaking products yet. They're practicing 1, 2, 3, or all 4 of these core 4 secrets. The first one, that's the biggest investment. If you get the triple purifier and then you contact Danusha and you put that together, but that's like rocket fuel water, dude. It's amazing. But you can simply buy the glass jars and pack it. And that's pretty inexpensive. The other 3 are free. What's it cost to do breath work? What does it cost to avoid some liquids with your food? And what does it cost to do some breath work? Nothing. It doesn't cost anything. It's an investment in time and investment into your body. And you being an intelligent system, you got to try this stuff out for yourself and see if it works. Use your sensor. Do it. See how it makes you feel. I think you'll find that you start stacking these 4 core secrets together, you're going to set up a really good foundation to build upon.
And I think that's the biggest thing is just because I had ulcers growing up. I was in the hedge fund. That's why I had to get out. And the mindfulness work and breath work really changed the game for me just feel better. And, all this stuff is connected. Now, I'm assuming with all this is going to help your immune system go up. And I know we didn't talk too much about the immune system, but how does that get affected through this process? And what are some tips and tricks you got on that end?
For boosting the immune system?
Hell yeah.
Well, everything I just shared with you,
that's going to help
your immune system. Absolutely. Everything. So those are things that people can do that are tangible. They're just kind of common sense when you think about them. It's like, wow, that makes sense. I'll try it. And I have a lot of people do that, and they're like, wow, it does work, right? And it's just, yeah.
Are you intermittent fasting as well?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's powerful. For almost the entirety of time, this is not some magic. This stuff is not magic. This is just like common sense. Think about it. For human beings, they were nomadic for thousands and thousands of years, right? Just like over in the Serengeti, when the spring rains hit, the animals then come in because all that fresh tinder is coming up. So if you look at our skin, we have pretty thin skin. We're supposed to be within about 1,500 miles of the equator, where it's pretty sunny most time. Like Costa Rica, it's 72 degrees all year round. That's freaking awesome. 75. That's where we should be. But through the advent of clothing, fire, thermostats, heaters, air conditioners, we've moved into areas that we normally wouldn't inhabit. We shouldn't, like Las Vegas, we wouldn't be living there. I mean, scorpions and stuff live there, right?
Sure.
So we're not a scorpion, but we've taken over. We live there. And but if you look at the history, we would be nomadic. So we would go up in the north and we'd walk for 2 or 3 days and we wouldn't eat anything. We were fasting. And then we would find one food source, maybe the ancestors of cabbage or spinach in a meadow, or in the fall, we'd find some berries or something like that. And we'd eat one food monolithically. We wouldn't eat all this other stuff. We wouldn't have a steak from Iowa and potatoes from Idaho and asparagus from Peru and finish it off with some Haagen-Dazs or Tillamook ice cream. That's improper food combining, mixing all different kinds of foods together. So we for a way we're programmed genetically is to eat one food, and then we would not eat for a day or 2. That's just the way it is. And that gave our bodies a chance to clean itself up, clean up the dead cells. Like if you're, I'm not a doctor, so, everybody needs to, always consult your medical professional, but we've seen that if people that really want to heal, the fastest thing to do is fasting to speed it up. Like a 3-5 day water fast is a complete immune system reset. Now, again, water fasting should be done under medical supervision. You could go to like a True North clinic and Dr. Alan Goldhammer down there. They're medically supervised water fasting, especially for those that have addictions. You go to these addiction rehab clinics, they have like a 2 to 3% success rate. I think they have like over 60-80% success rate at a water fasting clinic because it's a complete reset. It's all that crap out very quick and allows your body just to clean up all the dead cells and you self-heal. So it's not so much about what we put in, it's what we can get the stuff out and we stop putting in the trash, basically.
Yeah, and I think particularly intermittent fasting, it's free. It's not going to be selling the cereal and all this other junk. So you're never going to hear the mainstream media talk about it. But I think it's something that's so undervalued because for me, I do it about half the week. The other, when I do my heavy lift, I kind of need it, but I need to eat. But for me, it's like I feel my intestines, my insides go through like a detox almost. It's like the dishwasher on the inside. Like I feel like $1 million.
So water fasting is like one that's the highest level. There's also dry fasting where you don't need to drink anything. You can't do that for as long, but it's powerful. Then water fasting. Then you have intermittent fasting, right? And then you have juice fasting, or juice feasting. So you're not technically fasting, but you're getting the nutrients without the burden of all the heavy digestion. So all that energy that would have went to digestion then goes to your activities of daily living and to healing to boost your immune system. So for those listening, if you've never fasted before, we're not saying go do a 10-day water fast. Maybe you just replace breakfast with a green juice. That's usually where we start people. Take baby steps. And then maybe, down the road, you take what we do 1 day a week. I don't need anything. I just do green juices, or sometimes I'll do a water fast that day. So on Wednesdays, it's liquid nourishment day.
Gotcha.
1 day a week, take it off.
Now I want to talk to you about supplements. Before we get there, I want to take you about the colonic. Now, it sounds like you jumped into the deep end, right? You went the full, is there like a baby step that somebody can do to clear their colon or anything like that besides doing that full on colonic will? And again,
well, you could do an intimate home or something called a Klima board, but this was brought up a long time ago and we got a solution for it. So originally what I noticed is when people would take our green powder to replace the 85% of nutrients missing in the soil, because I healed myself through juicing, about 5-10% of them were getting plugged up because the greens were actually cleaning them from the top down. They were so gummed up down there, it was like a log jam, right? It was bloating. So I was like, wow, we have to clean out the pathway of elimination. This is the first step. And that's why they were selling us on the colon hydrotherapy. So I asked, I just on my own, I found a product. It was a magnesium product that turned into liquid oxygen basically, and it would clean out everything. And you'd be peeing out your butt for 5 days and everybody's like, wow, this works. And I did it to myself and I was like, well, it does work, but it's a little, this one guy, he's like, people at work were like, dude, you just blew up the bathroom. What's going on with you? Like smells and stuff were coming out. It was good because he's getting stuff out. But so people were doing it, but there was a little, and then I talked to my formulator, Dr. Treadway. I said, hey man, I found this great product and it cleans people out in magnesium. He's like, well, Tim, it's a little rough on people. He's like, it cleans out the good and it's taking out the bad and the good bacteria. I said, I know, but then we'll recolonize them with probiotics, prebiotics, do all this stuff. But we got to get that pathway clean. He's like, true. And, but he goes, I have a better solution for you. There's an ancient formula in India that we use that will do that. We just double down on it for 15 days. Then after that, they just take 3 a day for maintenance. And it's something I've been taking for 40 years. And he goes, every single patient that we saw in those 2 clinics in India where he trained, nobody left without being on this herbal formula. It was like the foundation. So I was like, oh my God, it sounds amazing. What's this going to cost me? And he's like, no, you can retail this for under $50. I was like, really? Awesome. So I got on it. We call it our gut detox product. It's ancient Ayurvedic formula. And you take 3 in the morning and 3 at night. And over 15 days, you're going to eliminate that 6 to 12 pounds of impacted fecal material. And not only the colon, but it cleans the small intestine too. So this is like a microscopic scrubbing bubbles. Like, I don't know if you remember that commercial where they're cleaning the toilet bowl and all that stuff, the scrubbing bubbles going there. So think of it like that very gentle way approach to clean the hair-like structures lining the intestinal lining. They're called villi, without killing and taking out the good bacteria. So I was like, woohoo. And there's no diarrhea, no diarrhea. That was really cool. So somebody could take it while they're working, traveling, playing sports, and you might not even notice you're detoxing, but over a 15-day period, that 6 to 12 pounds of funk and gunk and junk just slowly just comes out of you with these little microscopic scrubbing bubbles. And then after that, I just take 3 a day for maintenance. I've been doing that for, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years.
Wow.
Stuff's awesome.
That's awesome, dude. Now, how do you go about selecting your supplements? And then on top of that, how do you feel about the supplement world in total? Because I have a feeling you're about to shit on most of them.
Well, I started when I got back home, I started reading labels on all my food, and I went down the rabbit hole big time and learning to read labels on foods and drinks. And I got pissed. And I found out that 85% of the health food stores, what they carry is not fit for human consumption. The good health food stores, the really good ones. I mean, there's stuff, it's diabolical. And then it went even deeper. It's unbelievable. Cereal is an example. Like they take wheat that was genetically modified, which disrupts the metabolism of the plant. So instead of making glutathione, now the plant's making formaldehyde, right? Plus the chemicals on it. And then they take it in its dormant state, grind it into a powder, add water, yeast, sugar, salt, and then they spray it or they enrich it with vitamins that are synthetic. They spray it with synthetic chemicals and call it vitamins enriched. But it's even worse, dude. So the gluten's in there. It's terrible for kids. And then on top of it, now they have chemists on staff that put opiate derivatives to further addict our children, like opiates, okay, derivatives,
Really
synthetics.
okay.
And they don't even have to put it on the label. This is how diabolical the food industry is. They want you like strung out junkie on their shit. That's what they want. And so I got mad about it. But again, with my spiritual practice, I was able to let that all go.
Right, let that go.
Take a big breath and just say, oh, yeah, I'm just not going to give my money anymore. I'm not buying that crap. So that's what I did. So what happened is that when I started looking at supplements, I wanted whole food herbal supplements. 85% of the supplements on the market are owned by pharmaceutical companies. Let's just bring some awareness to that. 92% of the supplements on the market are pure synthetics made in a lab. Easiest way to tell, pull out your multivitamin, look at vitamin C behind it in parentheses. If it says ascorbic acid, you, my friend, are consuming a synthetic. Even if there's some, something else in there, maybe they got some probiotics, lactobacillus acidophilus, or they've got some ginseng root or some turmeric powder, curcumin. That's okay, but they still blended it with there's synthetics in there. So it could be a whole food synthetic blend. Some of them are pure synthetics, some of them are the blends. And some of them are the whole food source, but then the other ingredients are synthetic. Like if you look at our labels, I don't know if you can see this, but do you see on ours where it's here? I'll see if I can zoom in and get it to work. No. It says no magnesium. It's the red. It's not zooming in right now, but it says no magnesium stearate, no silicon dioxide, no dicalcium phosphate. Okay, those are 3 of the main toxins that are in supplements today. Those are binders, fillers, and flow agents. Silicon dioxide, as an example, is a level 3 toxin on EPA's toxin list, yet it's in most supplements. So go check your labels. When you go to our website at chemicalfreebody.com, you'll say, we dare you to check our labels. We want you to. It's because I've been geeking out on this. So I've got Dr. Scott Treadway, our formulator. He's one of the top. He's a master herbalist, master formulator. He works for like 17 of the top companies for supplements. And I'm one of the very few companies that allows him to do it the way he wants it he makes the formulas for them, but then they always change it. And they always put synthetics in certain things. That's just where we're at today. So you want a whole food or food source. So if your vitamin C, in parentheses behind it, instead of ascorbic acid, the synthetic, it should say from the amla berry, or from the camu berry, or from the Arcelia cherry. But then you have to look at the other ingredients, man, because those are synthetics too. When you make a synthetic, as an example, it won't fill up a capsule. So you have to fill it up. That's a filler, because Americans are not going to buy an empty capsule. They feel they're getting cheated. Well, so they put a synthetic in there, and then you're putting something in like magnesium stearate that cancels all absorption of nutrients and digestion. Why would you put something that cancels digestion and absorption into a product that you wanted to absorb? It makes no sense. Or their encapsulation machines cake up with certain raw materials. So they put flow agents, silicon dioxide, to get them to flow so they don't cake up for speed of production. That's great for their bottom line, but not for your health, And so we have our coaching students, we help them, we do supplement reviews. But, from just listening to this, if people just dig a little bit deeper, they can, just knowing about magnesium stearate, silicon dioxide, dicalcium phosphate, and how to read labels, you're halfway there. But you have to be careful, because now on the store shelves of the big stores, I can't name the brands because I don't want to get sued, but the big brands that have lots of shelf space. And back in the day, like one of them, as an example, starts with, I won't even say, but they were started by a couple, and they were totally into stuff like me, but then they sold out for millions to Procter & Gamble. Well, guess what? People still think it's all natural. It's not. They take yeast, which is a naturally occurring substance, and they force feed it the synthetic. And somehow the yeast eating that synthetic, now the synthetic's not a synthetic, and then they put it into the supplement. They don't even have to tell you what's in it. This is why you have to do your research. I wouldn't have even known that if I didn't have Dr. Scott Treadway, who's in it. So I've been in the supplement industry now and digging around for almost 11 years, but I've been in the industry myself for 7, and it's really shocking. So for me, that'd be like having an award-winning brownie recipe and then having a little bit of cat poop in it. I don't want to eat it. Oh, but you can't taste it. You can't see it. Well, I ain't eating it. Okay. And I think it's not right. I don't think I think that people are, they deserve to at least know what the hell they're eating. That's pretty a sacred thing, what you put in your mouth, right?
Man. Now you give me a solution here, Timmy. Tell me something. What do you suggest is 1 or 2 of the supplements here that we should be using from the company here, just to really start with that internal awareness? Where should we start?
Well, if somebody wants to get our products, I would just say go to chemicalfreebody.com, go to the products tab, and go to savings bundles. We have a little jumpstart bundle, which is you get a can of that gut detox and then a jar of the green 85. This is like the closest thing you're going to get to a green juice, and just do it twice a day. Or you can do the total energy and detox bundle and a bottle of the turmeric. That's what I do every day for my personal thing. Or just go in, but there's other, pick your budget, pick what resonates with you. There's different bundles. And then you get a discount. That's how you get a discount. And then at checkout, if they put in the code CTE for causing the effect, they get an additional 5%. So they can get a double discount. And we have a double your money back guarantee on all of our products. So a double your money back guarantee.
Double your money back.
Yeah, dude, I know this stuff's going to work. So it's like,
that.
And if it doesn't, there is a small amount of people that it won't, because some people have an allergic reaction to a certain ingredient. They could get itching or swelling, but this is like less than 1%. But for 99%, 98% of people up the middle, most of our stuff works because it's just real food, real herbs, concentrated. And if it doesn't work, call us and get on the phone with myself or one of our coaches, and we'll find a solution, whether it's another one of our products or another company's products. There's some companies out there. I've already helped over a dozen companies clean up their act. And a lot of these owners aren't bad people. They just didn't even know. They didn't know. And we were able to show them that. So my goal is not only to have really good supplements at Chemical Free Body for people, be the trusted name in where they can come for self-empowerment, to defend their health, to self-healing, become their own doctor, and give them the tools. And the supplements are just one part of our toolkit. We have so many other things that we share in the coaching, either in the private group community or in the one-on-one stuff, that can help people radically. And I've given you 4 easy examples today in those core 4 secrets. And that free guide, again, is at the website as well.
Yeah, we're gonna put the website below. We'll put the CTE, so you get double off there. Tim, man, this is a little scary, but it's really interesting stuff, man. Like, how do you deal with this? Waking up with all this stress every day? Are you just letting it go?
I got stressed when I left Hippocrates, but again, like, I was excited about this podcast because I thought we were going to talk more spiritual stuff, but maybe you can have me back on and we can do that, because that's what my real passion is. But I am passionate about the health stuff, because for me, that was the pathway that opened up the spiritual practice. And I look at everything, Scott, as contrast. And what I mean by that is I've learned that everything in life is meaningless. It's only the meaning that we give it. Yeah. So when I see a company out there doing something quote unquote diabolical or something I don't agree with, I thank them. Thank you. I don't want to eat that kind of stuff. That gives me a lot of contrast and motivation to move away from it so I can have a healthier body, healthier family. And I will take the time to invest in myself and find good companies, good products, and then I'll give my money to them. And then I'm part of the solution. Like, what people don't understand is you are literally, you want the world to change, you change. Change yourself, your world will change, period. It has to. We are literally the change, which is really cool. But we think, oh, we're just little old me. No, creation doesn't make mistakes. You're here for a reason. You need to be following your passion, your excitement. And when you do that, the more, whatever that is, maybe it's playing the violin or painting, or maybe you're a damn good listener, right? We could use a lot more of that. Whatever that is, that's what we need you to be doing, because then you give everybody else around you permission slips for them to follow their excitement. It's really important that we understand that we are creators of our own destiny.
Man, Tim, that is well said. That's a good way to end it, dude. I love how passionate you are, and I love how you're just basically raising consciousness. Same thing I'm trying to do with this podcast. They called it the Logos, and in Egypt, and everybody's on power and money nowadays. It's like that's not where the answer lies. So thank you so much, Tim James. Everybody, Chemical Free Body. Everybody on YouTube, thank you. Leave a review, like, subscribe, all that stuff. More importantly, just tell one of your friends. That's it, people. As always, stay safe, stay positive, stay blessed. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.